Hopefully the chickens don't start up a cackle fest in the middle of this. I'm Thelma Heidel-Baker. I and my husband Ricky run Bossy Cow Farm, a grass-based dairy and diversified farm in Random Lake, Wisconsin, southeastern Wisconsin. But one of the questions I get often is, what do our cows eat? We're a grass-based farm. So then people assume like, oh, your cows are just eating grass all the time. And they do, but we also think a lot about like, what are we feeding the soil? Because we want to make sure that we're able to do a lot of this without a lot of inputs. We're an organic farm, there's a lot of fertilizers we can't put on. We use the cows as a source of fertilizer, but there are other ways to do it. So we have other plants out here that are not just grasses, things like clovers, red clover. I don't think we've got any. Oh, here's some. We got red clovers out here. We've got white clovers out here. We do have some alfalfa as well. Sometimes we'll plant things like plantain, maybe some chicory. We have a lot of dandelions out here as well, and cows love dandelions. And so that diversity of having all these different plants out here is really important for the cows, because just like us, we're told we should eat a diverse diet. That's really important for the cows as well, because they get a lot of the different nutrients that they need for their systems by eating different plants that bring up different different pieces that they need in their diets. So it becomes really important to have that diversity. And also having all these different plants out here helps us weather extremes better as well, because when we have, like we had this summer, some drought conditions, there are some plants that can do better because they have these really deep root systems that go down and can bring up water when some of the other plants maybe can't do that. And so having that diversity of what the cows can eat is also good for the soil and the ground, because they're able to uptake and handle extremes that sometimes are thrown at them. Why are our cows so fat? If you look at one of our cows, I kid you not, sometimes some of our animals, they're shorter girls, but sometimes it seems like they're wider out this way than they are tall. Because the cows are short, they're short and squat. And why are they big like that? Well, it's actually really good for them, because our cows only eat grass. That's their diet. We don't feed them any grain, they don't get any corn, they don't get any soybeans, they get just grass. And cows are built for eating grass. Cows have 4 different stomachs, and they are able to digest grasses. All these grasses that we have out here. If you eat this grass like this, it's not going to go very well for us, because there's so much in here and fibers and things that our body cannot digest. But cows are able to do that because of their rumens, where they have all this microbiota in their stomachs that help break it down and help them actually be able to digest this kind of material. And that takes a lot of, it also produces a lot of gas. And so that gas that comes from breaking down all this grass that they eat makes their stomachs really, really large. And we say a healthy rumen is a big cow, and that's what we need out here, because that's all our cows get is grass to eat. How do we move our cows? So our cows during the summer, like right now, are out on pasture all day long, and we move them once or twice a day, typically twice a day. And the reason we do that is because we want them to eat the grass efficiently. If you give a cow a whole pasture, they're going to trample a lot of it and only eat a little bit of it. What we want them to do is eat a lot of it and trample just a little bit of it. So we give them a little bit at a time so that they eat what is in front of them. And then after maybe 12 hours or so, then we give them a new break. And we do that because we've got these wonderful movable fencing systems. They're portable moving fencing systems, and we can easily, with one person, move a fence over and give the cows a new break. And it's a really efficient way to do it. It's really what's helped managed grazing, like what we do, become something that's really easy to do. Before we had this technology, it's not really fancy technology by any means, but it's amazing what a simple tool can do to help make something so much easier, and that's what our fencing systems have been able to do, the portable systems. Our pigs over there are 200-pound pigs, and I can keep them in with one wire off the ground. One wire. That's how they're in there the whole time, summer. One of the questions I get is, do our chickens or our pigs or other livestock that we have here on the farm eat grass? Because I say we're a grass-based farm, and it's like, well, we know the cows eat grass. Do the other animals eat grass? And yes, they absolutely do. Even though both our chickens and our pigs get grain, we give them a grain meal because they can't survive solely on just the grasses. We do need to supplement their diet. When I let them out in the morning, they will go straight for the grasses and the clovers, and we'll pick them off. And what we found is when we give them fresh grass, like someplace new, we move them, maybe once a week or so and give them new access, they definitely eat the grasses. So yep, we've got grass-eating chickens and grass-eating pigs for sure. Do our calves stay with our cows? That's a question I get a lot. In like, how do you take care of the calves? Where do they go? There's a lot of different ways that you can manage calves. Some people have hutches and they keep them separate and they bottle feed them. We keep our calves with our cows. And we do it in a couple of different ways. This summer we had a nurse cow herd, so we actually designated some of our cows as the moms that are going to take care of the calves, and we'd have them as a separate herd where we bond moms and babies together. So each mom would have 2 or 3 calves that they would feed for the summertime. And so it was a wonderful herd of like 6 or 7 cows with a lot of calves with them, and it's a really fun thing to see the calves running around with the cows. Bonding the moms and the babies together takes a little bit of time, but once you got them bonded, it works really well. And one of the other advantages that we found to having the moms and the babies bonded is they're out on pasture too all summer, is those calves learn so quickly how to graze out on the grass because they're following what mom does. They do what mom does. So these calves are nursing on their moms, drinking milk, but they're also out there eating the grass right away. It does not take them long to figure out exactly what it is that are the multiple food sources out there for them. And so they stay with the moms for several months until they're big enough to be weaned, and then we'll take them off of the moms when they no longer need the milk anymore. Our pastures, these are perennial pastures, so we don't regularly work them up at all. Some of these have been in pasture for 20 plus years already. But we do every year make an assessment on them to see, what are the plants that are out here? Is everything the species that we want growing? And every year there are some of our pastures that do get reseeded, and I should say reseeded, they get interseeded to add some of the particular species that may be missing. One of them in particular that kind of goes away after time is clover, like red clover. It's a really important plant the cows love. It helps to fix nitrogen down in the soil, but after time it can start to disappear. So we do every couple of years interseed with new clover seed to make sure that diversity gets maintained and sustained over time.